Hi, my name's James O'Neill, doing this video from Cornwall, United Kingdom. It's just gone 9 o'clock, it's about 20 past 9 in the evening, and I'm doing this video totally different to how I've done other videos before, the timing and for how, basically it's just different. It's the timing of it, and what I've done is, this is for a reason, because the day is coming to an end here, but because of how planet turns and time and blah blah blah, which I talked about the other day, the day is only halfway through in America, and it is a momentous day. Now, by the term momentous, I mean politically. Now, I remember in 1994 I was sat at a bar at Newark Airport, so Newark Airport, New York, America. I was sat at the bar waiting for my flight home. I've been driving around America for 2 weeks, and it was the first time I went, and God got me to go, and I just drove around California for 2 weeks. Did 3,000 miles over 3 weeks, and got my plane from LA, changing at Newark, and I'm sat there having a drink at Newark Airport, and the TV was on. And I was there to witness a momentous moment in history, politically. And I witnessed live at Newark Airport Newt Gingrich's 100-day speech. And the Republicans had took control of the Senate and Congress. And Newt Gingrich gave this speech about what the Republicans were going to do in the next 100 days. Labour tried to do the same. I did a video about it a couple of years ago. And it was, take my word for it, it was a momentous moment. Alright, it was politicians playing games. It was what politicians do, but it was a momentous political moment, and I witnessed it live, and I've never forgot it. And for me to be sat there at that moment, that speech was made live, because I wouldn't have known about that speech, I wouldn't have known about it, but I just happened to be in between flights, sat at the bar watching it live on TV. 10 minutes before, 10 minutes after, I wouldn't have seen it, I'd have never have known about it, because it was 1994. So I was meant to be there to witness it, and today I've witnessed a couple of things that I was meant to witness politically, and they were momentous moments in the political history of America, in the political history of the world. And now with the internet, now in 2020, which is what, 28 years later, 26 years after that moment, more people have access to the internet, so more people will witness this momentous moment. Not just Americans, but others. But I don't think a lot of people will get it. Or a lot of people will see a headline, or they'll see a YouTube video, let's say a YouTube video, they'll see a YouTube video and they'll bypass it, and they'll go watch a fucking dog that's got its head trapped in a bucket. Or they'll watch some dolly bird dancing, who's like parading about, getting a load of views, and she's making money off it, which is fair enough. But they won't take the opportunity to go watch these momentous moments. So what am I talking about? Right, I got home from work today and I've had a really strange day at work. I only talked to a couple, you won't believe it, it's not that I'm shy, I'm very reluctant to talk to people, you know, so I don't talk to people generally. It takes a lot of effort. I build up barriers and I don't let people in. So there's only a couple of people. I talked to Peter at work, and there's a woman at work who I talked to. Well, there's a couple, but they weren't in today. And so today was a very strange day where I was isolated from the couple of people who I normally talk to. And do you know what? It's been really good. I've got on with my job, and I did quite well at work. You know, my speed was up and stuff, and blah, blah, blah. And I was in my own little shell, my own little world. And it went really well. So then I come home, and I'm puts on my computer, and I go straight to my subscriptions, and all these videos from people who are subscribed to. It's like you can click on my name of my old channel, not so much this one because I haven't really formed it yet, but my older channel, the one I'm suspended from, which I call my main channel. If you click on my name, Jim1A, you click on that below left the video, you go to playlist and blah blah blah, and you can also see who I subscribe to. And so I clicked on subscriptions and all these videos came up, and straight away, and I started watching a couple, and all of a sudden I got the realisation from just a couple of videos, and also looking at the headlines of videos, something's changed today in America. And what it was is, the Republicans are starting to back Donald Trump. And they're also doing other things. And in the Senate, they've shouted out, I think we should investigate the possibility of fraud in the election. Now, I did the video a couple of days ago, or earlier this week, and the video was Trump's Republican enemies in the Republican Party, something like that. So if you click on James O'Neill, bottom left, go on that and you'll see my videos, and you click on videos. I forgot the exact title, but in that video I talked about Trump's long established enemies in the Republican Party. They're in the Republican Party, and he's been surrounded by traitors. Now, I am not a supporter of Trump. I talk about, if Joe Biden was in power, I talk about Joe Biden, like, but I talk the truth as I see it. And Trump has many, many, many enemies. And all he's been doing is biding the time, waiting for this election, so that the Democrats can win, so things can get back to normal. In other words, the old system of politics. Because I've told you time and time again, Trump is this new force. And they got a shock when Trump won the first election. So they've not really backed, they never backed him in the 4 years. They never backed him. And in that congressional vote a few weeks ago, where there was a vote to make it so that that letter between P and R is classed as a domestic terrorist, was passed with the help of 95%. That figure's in me, I've just made that figure up in my head, but it'll be about that. With the help of 95% of the Republicans in Congress, they helped, 95% of the Republicans in Congress helped the Democratic Party class that letter between P and R as a domestic terrorist. That's how few friends Trump has got. So, and it's about silencing anything that speaks about the situation in America at this moment, and in the past, and the future, and the corruption and everything. So, if you go to that video, I'm not going to do it again. It's up to you to make the effort. If you go to that video, there's a link to the congressional vote, and you can actually see the names of the people. So I'm looking at my subscriptions today, and then I saw that, one of the videos, where Republicans in the Senate have gone, I think we should look at the election, possible corruption. And then I saw a couple of other things, and I smiled, and I thought, fucking hell, something's happened. They've seen, and I knew straight away with the inner voice, because I have a conversation, and the conversation with the inner voice was, something's going on. We're going to have to back Trump, because it, and I thought to myself, the worm's turned, something's happening. But I didn't sit there thinking, oh yeah, I've got to know, because I'm not like that with the inner voice. I let things happen, like I let today at work happen. And this today at work, being on my own, was good for now, this moment when I was watching this, because I had this calmness about me at work that transferred to home. So I'm looking at my subscriptions again, then one comes up. There's going to be a live feed to Giulliani and Sidney Powell and Jenna Ellis. There's going to be a live feed, you can watch them live. And I thought, all right. See, they are going about changing the election. When I say changing the election, they're going about proving the fraud of the election. Now that can get me banned for saying that. Isn't that awful? But they had a live conference, so I'm going to put a link to it. And I'm telling you now, if you want to witness a historical political moment in history, if you're a younger person especially, an older person as well, anybody, if you want to witness a historical political moment that you will remember for the rest of your life, something that changes the future, and you can go back to this point in history and know that it changed the future, so 10 years from now, 15, 20 years, because I remember the moment I sat 26 years ago watching Newt Gingrich make his 100-year speech at Newark Airport. And I knew as I watched it, even before I was involved, when I say before I was involved, I was listening to the inner voice then, and that's why I went to America, driving around on my own for 3 weeks. Peace and quiet with myself. I had a lot of problems at the time. And God required me to go there. But I wasn't fully acknowledging God then. 1994, I wasn't doing it. So I'm going to put a link to this. You've got the press there, they're in a room. It's a small room. Giulliani is sweating like a pig towards the end. Even the dye he's running at, he's sweating, and the dye is starting to come out of his hair towards the end. And this is a historical, momentous moment, just like the 100-day speech by Newt Gingrich in 1994. And he totally and utterly destroyed the so-called election of Joe Biden. He destroyed it, along with the assistance of Sidney Powell. Who's Sidney Powell? Well, this time, 4 years ago, Trump was putting his administration together and everyone was in shock. The old guard of the Republicans and the Democrats were in shock. And Trump announced as his defence secretary, General, I think it was Kelly, Mad Dog, I always know him as Mad Dog, I think it's Mad Dog Kelly. So he announced this old, rough, tough, knows his game, military Mad Dog Kelly, because that was his nickname. I think he was a Marine General. I think he was a Marine General. And straight away, the fucking threads went. Because they saw the direction of Trump, where Trump was going. They were getting somebody in who was going to change the military and the defence of America. And he was going to be a part of fetching the troops back home. That was this time, 4 years ago. I think it was actually December. But it was before his inauguration in January, in the Rose Garden. And straight away, they went after Kelly. And straight away, they did it actually in a sloppy manner because it's all backfired on him 4 years later. And they went after Mad Dog Kelly and they actually accused him of collaborating with Russia. They accused a heroic, lots of medals, Marine General, Mad Dog Kelly, of collaborating with Russia and being a Russian spy basically. And they couldn't vote him in as Defence Secretary because he had to go up before the Senate to be voted in, either the Senate or Congress or whatever. So Donald Trump, even before he was president, never got the Defence Secretary he wanted. And he's been surrounded by all these treacherous people that he's had to take, second, third, fourth grade. The difference that would have made to America if Mad Dog had got in. But That was their first move to deny America of a brighter future. When I say a brighter future, a future where soldiers were brought home from Iraq, Syria, and Afghanistan. And one of the fucking biggest critics of Trump and Kelly was that fucking evil little bastard Senator John McCain, who now is with God. When I say with God, has stood before God and has been shown his evil little fucking life in his book of life. And he's not a Republican anymore where he is. He's not a Republican. He's not a politician. He's just another light in heaven, should we say, or in the place where God is. And he has been shown his book of life, and he has got a hell of a lot of karma to work off. So anyway, so they got rid of Kelly. And how they got rid of Kelly was they accused him of being a Russian. But how they did it was they did it in a way where they accused him, and he went before Congress. He was then accused of perjury and all this, and they made it so that he was running up all these costs for being a lawyer, and it was bankrupting him. But one of the tactics he did was they got him to plead guilty. So you say, well, if he pleaded guilty, he must have been guilty. No, what they did was they told this Marine General, Mad Dog, his hero, that they were going to go after his son. I think his son's 19 years old, and it was something petty, and they told him straight that they were going after his son if he didn't plead guilty. So he pled guilty to save his son being highlighted by the press, being charged, and then the press going after him, the politicians going after him, the mainstream media that I found it up. They were going to go after Mad Dog's son, and that's why he pleaded guilty. But his fight never stopped. It carried on a slow burn. You know, like when you put something on a slow burn. It's been going on for years, and then recently, it's not that long ago, only a couple of months ago, that the FBI have had to admit that they produced, to convict, to get Mad Dog into this position, the FBI in the last few months have had to admit that they perjured themselves to judges. The FBI as an organisation presented false evidence, and they've had to admit that they did it. You won't see that in the mainstream media because the mainstream media bury this stuff. That's how bad it's been the last 4 years. So this Sidney Powell was Mad Dog's solicitor, or lawyer, and she went crazy on TV about 18 months ago to 2 years ago because she got hold of Hillary Clinton's emails and videos because of Anthony Weiner's laptop. You go, who's Anthony Weiner? Well, Anthony Weiner was a congressman in New York, and he sent pictures of himself to an underage girl, you know, penis pictures in the mirror. To I think she was 15, 16. She might have been 16, but she's underage. And the police went and got his camera and his laptop and that because of what he sent his picture to this young girl. And when they looked at his laptop, it's all been locked away, this evidence, because the FBI have locked it away. And the New York police got his laptop, and there were thousands upon thousands upon thousands of Hillary's emails in a file with the title insurance. You know, just that little file, you know, little folder. And it was insurance. And he had all this stuff on Hillary Clinton because he didn't want to become one of the victims of the Clinton body count. You know, anybody who goes against the Clintons. His wife is Hillary Clinton's personal assistant. She has been for 20 years. And she's more of a friend to Hillary than she is to her husband. It's a sham marriage. You know, one of those arranged marriages, you know, like Prince Edward. And he's Sophie. It's not real. And you see other marriages like that. Well, Weiner and, I forgot her name, but Hillary Clinton's. And he's got this fact, and he's got these pictures of his wife and Hillary Clinton allegedly torturing little children and raping children. And the New York police have got it. It's all there. And it's all been locked away. And they reckon there's only like 11 New York policemen that have seen this video. And 9 of them are dead. And it's locked away. And Sidney Powell was Mad Dog's lawyer. And I think she still is. And she's witnessed this. And she spoke about it. There's videos of her talking about it. And she says, it's evil. But they can't fetch it out because the FBI aren't doing anything. The FBI haven't done a lot of things about a lot of things in the last 4 years. Wonder why. But I did a video 4 years and 5 weeks ago. When I was homeless living in the park, I did a video on my channel that I'm now suspended from called Hillary Clinton and the FBI's incestuous relationship. The Clintons and the FBI have this incestuous relationship where they protect each other, and it all goes back to Waco. Because the FBI went in and murdered children, babies, and babies in the womb, pregnant women, and innocent men and women. And they did that for the Clinton administration, for Hillary and Bill. And since then, they have protected each other. That's why the head of, just over 4 years ago, what's his name, the head of the FBI, and he was up before Congress, and he was giving evidence against Hillary Clinton because Hillary Clinton had been caught out over her emails, and this is before Anthony Weiner. Is it Como? Not Como, I forgot his name, but the head of the FBI. And he protected Hillary Clinton and protected her and protected her and protected her. Even though any idiot can see that Hillary Clinton has done some bad things. Because they were talking about Benghazi, about how she allowed the American ambassador to Libya to be murdered. She allowed it. She allowed it, and she lied about it. And all the American contractors, you know, the military contractors, private security guards, they were all killed. And she lied about it. And what they did was, they immediately said, when Hillary Clinton was in charge, they said that somebody put a cartoon of the Prophet Muhammad and that caused it. It hadn't. If you watch the movie Benghazi 13 Hours, fantastic movie. It's Hollywood, I know that, but it shows you what happened. And you can fill the gaps in between yourself if you're not an idiot. So, Sidney Powell was the lawyer for Kelly and still is. And she knows a lot about the evil of the Democratic Party. And she's not been able to give that evidence out. We can't see it because it's under lockdown. These videos of Hillary Clinton and Anthony Weiner's wife and lots of other things, Pizzagate, the Podestas, it's all on Anthony Weiner's laptop, but it's been sealed, and Trump's not been able to get it out because he hasn't got enough loyal people around him for the last 4 years. That's why he has to win this. When I say he has to win this second election, that's why they don't want him to win this second election, because a lot of people are going to go to prison. You've got to remember, that figure, as far as I know, is right. 9 out of 11 New York policemen have committed suicide or died in strange accidents. Who've seen that video of Hillary Clinton and Anthony Weiner's wife doing what they did to a young girl. And you can actually go on the internet. I don't know if it's on YouTube anymore, but it used to be on YouTube before they got vicious in shutting people down. But you can actually hear the girl screaming on the video. There's a video where you can hear her screaming. And because that's from the laptop. So that was leaked by that letter between P and R. That's why Trump's Republican enemies went into Congress and voted with the Democrats to make that letter between P and R a domestic terrorist, because that type of information is being revealed drip by drip. And it's not a person. You've got to remember that that letter is not a person. It is a group of people. And in Congress, when they gave the vote, in the vote they said that all efforts must be made to track this person. It's not a person. It is a group of people within the Pentagon, within the security services, who have been watching evil for donkey's years, and they want it to come to an end. I don't think they're not Christians, because the Christians are fucking stupid. Christians have nothing to do with this that's going on. It's people that love America, or they have a new vision for America. They could be part of the new force, and that new force that is Trump works for the new force. He's a puppet. So that's where they come from. So today I watched this, and if you want a memorable moment in history, go watch this. It's an hour and a half. I watched all of it, and I could sit here. I will do a video eventually about Giuliani, but today's not a today for that video. Giuliani today was very, very, very good. He was 10 out of 10. He was on top form. He did what he had to do without grandstanding, and it was well choreographed. And you've got to think about, as you're watching it, the press who you can't see, the mainstream media who are part of the oppression, or the part of the censoring of the truth, the censoring of the truth. They are part of it, and all it, you can't see them, but you can feel it. And Mayor Giuliani's there, Sidney Powell's there, and Jenna Ellis. They're there. You can see them. They're stood behind him, and they are facing the mainstream media, and you can feel it. They hate him, and he's reeling off fact after fact after fact after fact, and the press can't say anything because they have to wait for their time. And it's fact after fact after fact about the way the election has been stolen, and he's reeling it off, and he's telling them these are things that you could have found out. They're there, and we've done our work, and you've not reported on what we've been doing the last few weeks. He's basically telling them, you've not been reporting on what we've been doing. You've been telling lies. And he's telling the mainstream media, you have been telling lies about what we are doing. But now, because of these facts, they now have the decision to make as individuals. They work for corrupt, these reporters, TV, newspapers, whatever organisation, they work for a corrupt organisation. That corrupt organisation pays their mortgage. It helps their children get private education during this crisis. It helps pay for lots of things in their lives that give them comfortable lives. And these individuals have to make a decision now. But we know what that decision is going to be. They're going to carry on being corrupt. And they're going to try and ride the storm and keep getting them wages, that money paid in at the bank. They're not going to rock the boat in their individual lives, but they're being presented with evidence that they can't twist. Because this is boom. This is boom day. This is historical moment day, where this evidence has been, and I ain't going to go on about it because you will have to watch it. I ain't going to tell you what was said. So Giuliani does his bit, then Sidney Powell comes in. Now when you look at Sidney Powell, she's in her 50s, and you've got to remember what she knows from Anthony Weiner's laptop. She's been brought into this by Giuliani because of this connection to how they decapitated Trump's plan for the defence of America and the bringing back of troops by not allowing Mad Dog Kelly and then hounding him and lying about him. And the FBI have only recently, like I said, the FBI have only recently admitted they've held their hands up and said, yes, we presented